All right, so get ready because today we are diving headfirst into Peter Thiel's 0 to 1. And I am so pumped for this one because this book,
Yeah.
it challenges like every conventional business idea
Yeah.
that I've ever heard.
Yeah.
And
And he's got the street cred to back it up, right? I mean,
uh,
PayPal, Facebook, early investor, like he's been there.
exactly. This is a guy who knows a thing or two about building groundbreaking companies.
Yeah.
And with his background as a venture capitalist,
Why?
he's
Seen it all.
seen it all.
Yeah.
So let's just say this isn't your average, like, business advice book.
Not at all. No, this is
like next level stuff.
this is about understanding the DNA of what makes companies truly disruptive.
And one of the most mind-blowing things that Thiel throws down right off the bat
Mm-hmm.
is that competition is for losers.
Right.
I think I almost choked on my coffee the first time I read that.
Yeah.
It's like, whoa,
It's a bold statement.
talk about going against the grain.
It is. But I think his point is that when you're so busy, like tangled up with a competition, just trying to survive,
Right.
you lose the bandwidth to really innovate. You become a smaller fish in a crowded pond.
Right.
And he actually argues that monopolies, and I know that word can sound a little scary,
Yeah.
but monopolies are often better positioned for the long game, both in terms of growth and making real progress.
Okay, so let's unpack this whole monopoly thing for a second.
Yeah.
Because I think when most people hear that word,
Right.
they think of, some like corporate giant just squashing the little guy,
Right. Exactly.
not fostering innovation.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a loaded term.
Right.
And Thiel isn't advocating for, those kinds of monopolies.
Yeah.
He's talking about becoming so undeniably valuable in a specific market
Right.
that you become the natural choice.
Okay.
Think Google in the world of search engines
Right.
or Amazon's dominance in e-commerce. They didn't just edge out the competition.
Yeah.
They basically reinvented the game.
So instead of trying to like outrace everyone on the same track,
Yeah.
you're saying it's more about finding a racetrack where you're the only one with a horse.
Yeah, I think you're getting at it.
Okay.
It's about finding that open space, that blue ocean, where you can build something truly unique and valuable.
Okay.
And this is what Thiel calls that 0 to 1 leap,
Okay.
creating something entirely new, not just tweaking what's already out there.
And that's where this whole secrets concept comes in, right?
Exactly.
Like he's sending us on some kind of entrepreneurial treasure hunt.
Yes, but these aren't like buried chests of gold or anything.
Sure.
Thiel's talking about uncovering those hidden truths within your industry,
Okay.
the kind of insights that everyone else has overlooked.
So how do we find these so-called secrets?
Yes,
Do I need to like start wearing a trench coat and like following competitors around?
I wouldn't recommend that, no.
Okay.
Thiel has a much more interesting tactic. He says, ask yourself
Okay.
this one powerful question.
Okay.
What important truth do very few people agree with you on?
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, it forces you to challenge the conventional wisdom,
Okay.
to really examine your assumptions,
Yeah.
and to see the world differently than everyone else.
It's not just about like brainstorming any old idea.
Right.
It's about tapping into something
Yeah.
that most people wouldn't even consider.
Exactly, because those unconventional ideas, the ones that seem counterintuitive at first,
Right.
those are often the key to unlocking massive value.
Okay.
Think about how many successful companies were initially dismissed as crazy ideas.
Oh, yeah.
Right. If you're simply agreeing with everyone else in your industry,
Right.
you're probably not on the path to a 0 to 1 breakthrough.
And speaking of those breakthroughs, Thiel doesn't just talk about ideas. He talks about the power of technology to actually bring them to life.
Yes.
But this isn't your typical, like, tech is the future kind of thing.
No, not at all.
Is it?
Thiel, he dives deeper.
Yeah.
He distinguishes between what he calls horizontal progress and vertical progress.
Okay.
Horizontal progress is essentially copying what's already out there,
Okay.
maybe making it a bit cheaper or slightly more efficient.
So more of the same, just on a wider scale.
Precisely.
Okay.
Now, vertical progress,
Yeah.
that's where the real magic happens.
Okay.
This is about creating something entirely new.
Yeah.
That leap from 0 to 1.
Okay.
It's about harnessing technology to solve problems we haven't been able to crack before.
And this is where I think Thiel's experience as a venture capitalist really shines through.
Yeah.
Because he's seen firsthand how some companies don't just build products,
Right.
they create entirely new industries.
And create entirely new industries, yeah.
Right.
And he argues that technology is the key to unlocking that kind of radical progress.
Okay.
And this is crucial. It's not just about using technology for the sake of it.
Right.
Thiel stresses that technology should solve real problems
Okay.
and create tangible value for customers.
So it's about identifying a genuine need
Yes.
and then using technology to build a solution that people actually want,
Exactly.
not just a solution looking for a problem.
A solution looking for a problem, right?
Right.
It's interesting, if you think about the early internet,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people, they just saw it as a faster way to send mail,
Yeah.
But the people who really understood its potential,
Yeah.
they saw a 0-to-1 opportunity,
Right.
a chance to connect people
Yeah.
and share information like never before.
And those who couldn't see beyond electronic mail
Yeah.
probably missed out on some pretty big waves.
Yeah, definitely.
Speaking of big waves,
Hmm?
Thiel also dives into a concept that might ring a bell for some of you.
Okay.
The power law.
Yes.
The dreaded power law.
It's not as intimidating as it sounds.
It's not, no, it's actually quite straightforward.
Okay.
The power law basically states that in many areas of life, a small number of things are responsible for the vast majority of the results.
So think about it. A handful of blockbuster movies
Okay?
rake in most of the revenue in Hollywood.
Right.
Just a few musicians sell the lion's share of albums.
So instead of like a nice even bell curve,
Yeah.
it's more like a steep mountain.
Yes.
A few towering peaks, and then this long, gradual slopes
Exactly.
with everyone else.
And the same principle applies to venture capital.
Okay.
A small percentage of successful companies end up generating the majority of the returns.
Wow.
Yeah. So for all you aspiring entrepreneurs out there,
Yeah.
the takeaway is this. Don't just aim for average.
Okay.
Shoot for the moon. Don't just build a slightly better mousetrap. Build the kind of company that could revolutionize the entire pest control industry.
Now you're getting it.
Right.
But building that kind of groundbreaking company
Yeah.
takes more than just a brilliant idea.
Yeah.
You need the right person at the helm,
Okay.
which is where Thiel's insights on founders and teams come into play.
All right. Let's talk about the human element of building a startup.
Because even with a game-changing idea,
Right.
it all boils down to execution.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thiel is adamant that a strong founder,
Okay.
someone with a clear vision and the charisma to inspire others, is absolutely essential for success.
Okay.
He points to leaders like Steve Jobs
Right,
and Elon Musk.
Right.
These weren't just CEOs.
Right.
They were visionaries who built movements,
Right.
attracting passionate teams,
Okay.
all united by a shared purpose.
So it's about building a company that people believe in,
Yes.
not just a product that people buy.
It's about something bigger.
Right.
Exactly.
It's about passion and purpose.
Yes.
And that's something we can all relate to,
Absolutely.
whether we're starting a company, leading a team, or even just pursuing a personal goal.
It's that drive
Yeah.
to create something meaningful.
Right.
That can be the difference between a flash in the pan and a lasting legacy.
So what's the vision that truly drives you? What do you believe in so strongly that you can inspire others to join you on the journey? It's a big question.
It is.
Yeah,
It is, but it's something to think about.
it is. Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
It's about building something that lasts.
Yeah. And when it comes to building something that lasts, Thiel wraps up 0-to-1 with a really practical framework, for actually building a successful startup.
Okay, so give it to me straight.
Yeah.
For those of us who are ready to take that leap from 0-to-1, what's Thiel's secret sauce?
Well, remember that blue ocean we were talking about?
Yeah.
That space where you can carve out your own niche?
Right.
Thiel's first principle is all about starting small and really dominating that space. Don't try to take on the world all at once.
Okay.
Find a small pond where you can be the biggest fish, become the go-to solution for a very specific group of customers.
Okay.
And then, once you've established your dominance, you can think about expanding outward.
So it's about strategic,
Yes.
sustainable growth.
Yeah.
Not just chasing after
Right.
every opportunity that comes your way.
Exactly. And this actually ties directly into his second principle.
Which is scaling up gradually.
Okay.
So many startups make the mistake of trying to grow way too quickly, way too soon.
Right.
They raise a ton of capital, go on a hiring spree, and then completely fizzle out before they've really found their footing.
Right.
Thiel advocates for a much more measured approach. Prove your concept, build a really rock-solid foundation, and then, once you have a model that works, you can ramp things up.
It's about building something with staying power.
Yes.
Something that can weather those inevitable storms that every startup is going to face.
It's about playing that long game.
Right.
Exactly.
It's not a sprint, it's a marathon.
And then finally, Thiel reminds us that it's not enough to just create a product that people like.
Okay.
You want to create something that actually has the potential to make a real impact,
Okay.
to change the world in some small way. Think beyond that quick win and aim for something that truly matters.
Aim high, dream big,
Exactly.
and don't shy away from those ambitious goals.
Yes.
It seems like 0 to 1 is as much a philosophy as it is like a business book.
It's a mindset.
Right.
Absolutely. And beyond all the really practical advice, I think the most powerful takeaway from 0 to 1 is that every single one of us, we all have the potential to create something new.
Okay.
It's not about being some kind of tech genius or having millions of dollars in the bank.
Right.
It's about having the courage to think differently,
Okay.
to challenge that status quo, and to pursue ideas that other people might dismiss as totally crazy.
To find that one important truth, that belief that very few people agree with you on, and to have the audacity to actually explore it,
Yes.
that's a powerful concept.
It is.
And I know that's something that's going to stick with me long after I close the book.
Me too. It really is a call to action, for
Yeah.
anyone who's ever felt like they have something unique to offer,
Right.
something that can make a real difference.
Yeah, so to our listeners, we'll leave you with this. What's your 0 to 1 idea?
Ooh, I like that.
What's that truth that you hold dear, that belief that most people wouldn't agree with? It might just be the seed of something truly extraordinary.
It might.
It really is about pushing the boundaries and not being afraid to explore those uncharted territories.
And that's where, that's where Thiel's concept of secrets is so powerful.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
not about, keeping things hidden or being secretive. It's about uncovering those overlooked truths that can unlock just tremendous value.
Right. And it's interesting because when you think about a company like Google,
Yeah.
Thiel actually argues that it was their dominance in search
Right.
that allowed them to then pour resources into things like self-driving cars.
Exactly.
Which, for a lot of companies would have been way too risky if they were still,
Right.
just scrapping for market share in a crowded search engine market.
If they were still worried about, competing with Yahoo.
Right, exactly.
It shows how having that solid foundation,
Yeah.
that monopoly in their core area, gave them the freedom to pursue those much riskier, potentially game-changing innovations.
It's like they built the foundation before they started
Exactly.
building skyscrapers.
Yes, exactly.
It makes a lot more sense than just stacking things up haphazardly and hoping for the best, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And speaking of kind of, building methodically,
Right.
Thiel's second principle, remember, it's all about scaling up gradually.
Right.
He warns against, that very common startup trap of trying to grow way too fast, way too soon.
Right.
That whole, rush to raise capital and hire a bazillion people and conquer the world overnight.
Right. Yeah.
It rarely ends well.
It rarely ends well.
Yeah, so instead, Thiel advocates for a much more, I think, measured approach.
Okay.
You validate your idea, you build a really solid product, you make sure that it actually resonates with your target audience.
Yeah.
And then once you've got a model that really works, you can think about scaling up in a way that makes sense.
It's about being really strategic
Yes.
with your growth, making sure that every step you take is built on
Yes.
a foundation of actual success.
It's exactly. Not just hype and good intentions.
Right.
And this all ties into, I think, Thiel's emphasis on building for lasting impact.
Okay.
It's not enough to just create a product that people kind of like.
Yeah.
You really want to create something that solves a real problem.
Right.
Something that has the potential to really change the game, even if it's just within your specific niche.
So don't be afraid to dream big.
Don't be afraid to dream big, yeah.
Aim for that 0 to 1 breakthrough, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's about having the courage to pursue those ideas that could make a real difference in the world.
Yes, I love that.
No matter how unconventional they might seem at first.
Right, because those are often the ones that are the most game-changing.
Exactly.
So, yeah, that to me is the most inspiring message at the heart of 0 to 1.
Yeah.
That we all...
That's very empowering.
It is. It's very empowering.
Right.
Yeah, that we all have this potential to create something new, to leave our mark on the world. And it's not about, having all the answers or following some, rigid formula.
Right.
It's about having the curiosity to ask those really good questions.
Right.
The courage to challenge the status quo.
Yeah.
And the tenacity to actually bring those ideas to life.
And who knows, that seemingly crazy idea you have, the one that most people might just dismiss,
Yes.
might just be the seed of the next 0 to 1 breakthrough.
It very well could be, yeah.
So keep exploring, keep questioning,
Absolutely.
and keep building.
Yes. And thanks for diving into 0 to 1 with us.
This is awesome.
It was my pleasure.
I always love our deep dives.
Me too. They're always so insightful, and I feel like I learn something new every time.
Me too. And you know what, for our listeners out there?
Yes.
Remember, the journey from 0 to 1, it all starts with a single step.
That first step is often the hardest, but it's also the most important.
It is, so take that step and let's see what we can build together.
I love that. Let's do it.